All right, this video is going to be over learning targets number 1 and 2. Okay, so it's going to be both of these learning targets. Um, Learning target 1 is pretty basic. That's why we're doing 2 learning targets on one video. So the first learning target here is I can define ratio, and I can use ratio language. Okay, and we'll talk about that more here in a bit. But I mean, you guys have been doing ratios on review sheets for the past 5 weeks. Every time we've had whether we're figuring out how much one Mountain Dew costs, or or we're figuring out how much that one question we had where it was a week or so ago. It was 5 basketballs cost $90, and I want to figure out how much 3 of them cost. Okay, that's all part of this. Some of you have already really perfected this, which is really cool. So I'm thinking we're gonna zip through this unit pretty good, and then get on to some different things. So I can define a ratio and use ratio language, and then the learning target 2 here, from a word problem, situation, or picture, I can write a ratio in 3 different ways. That's kind of the key part there. Writing a ratio in 3 different ways. So let's go over here. Flip over to page 1 or 2, I guess. Here's your definition of a ratio right here. It's already written for you. So all I want you to do is maybe underline it or circle it or something. A ratio is just a comparison of 2 numbers by division. Okay? If I said I had 4 boys to 5 girls, that is just a comparison of 2 numbers. 4 boys to the number of girls. Okay? The 2 numbers that are in a ratio are called terms. So in other words, that's a term, that is a term. Okay? And that's it for learning target 1. Wow. So let's go on to learning target number 2. Now you've already learned this, but there are 3 ways to write a ratio. I mean, there are 4 listed here, but you'll see 2 of them are the same. The first way to write a ratio is to actually write it with the word 2 in there. Okay? And those are both the same. Okay, that's why I put them in the same color. They're both the exact same. The only difference is they actually put their labels in there, and which I will require you to do, by the way. So, get in the habit of always putting labels on ratios. It has to happen. That's the way I'm going to require it. Okay? The other way that you can show a ratio is by putting a colon. That is a colon when you got the 2 little dots. That's a colon. Put that between your 2 numbers, and that will also give you a ratio. And finally, definitely the most the number 1 way that you're going to see it. Let me zoom in a bit. The number 1 way is that one right there, in fraction form. Go ahead and write that. Fraction form. Okay, so it's not a fraction. They're not the same thing, but fractions and ratios are very similar. Okay, that's the thing I want you to take from this. And right there, that's the way we are going to write it the majority of the time. Okay, so example 2 here. What is the ratio of moons to stars? What is the ratio of, stars to moons? And then what is the ratio of moons to stars? Now the key important thing here, I want you to write off to the side. I want you to write this, please. I want you to write order matters. Order is the most important thing about ratios. Smiley. It is the most important thing about ratios, okay? When it says stars to moons, it specifically wants the number of stars compared to the number of moons. Okay, it's very important. So to answer the first question here, you can maybe draw a little arrow just like down to here like this. Okay, and just go ahead and let's count them. Let's count how many stars there are. There's 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, and 5 stars. So I know there are 5 stars. Okay, colon. And then I know there are how many moons? 1, 2, 3. So the ratio would be 5 to 3. Okay, and you can see it's right here for you. I guess I didn't have to do that. And then moons 2 stars would be the opposite, obviously. 3, 2, 5. Again, moons comes first. That's 3. Stars comes second. So it's all about the order. It's the same ratio. Okay, because if you put your labels on there, like this would be 5 stars to 3 moons. Well, that's the same if you wrote it as 3 moons to 5 stars. That doesn't matter. Okay, it's just all about making sure your order is correct. Okay, so you can see there in their answer, there are 5 stars and 3 moons. The ratio of stars to moons is 5 to 3. since there are 5 stars for every 3 moons. This is written, and there's the other 2 ways it can be written. Okay? And then it answers the second question there. I guess I didn't even know that. I thought I had to do that, but there's the second answer. So this question right here is answered right here. So again, it's all about order. Okay? Okay? Here I have, this is really hard to read on my copy here, but I'm pretty sure this is 4. Hopefully I'm right. No, I'm sorry. See, I'm wrong. I know there are 4 cups of pretzels, so I'll put a 4 there. I know there are 2 cups of bagel chips, and there's 1 of these cheese crackers, and then 1 cup of peanuts. I hope that's right. Yeah, it is. So, and it says the party mix makes 8 cups of party mix. This is what this recipe calls for. Okay? So, the party mix recipe requires how many cups of pretzels and cups of bagel chips? Well, that's pretty easy. It's like simple reading here. How many cups of pretzels? It requires 4 cups of pretzels, and it requires 2 cups of bagel chips. Write the ratio of pretzels to bagel chips in 3 different ways. So again, order matters. It wants pretzels, the number of pretzels it takes first, then bagel chips. So we know there are 4 to 2. So 4 colon, actually, you know what, let's put our units in there. 4, and you can put P for pretzel, colon, 2B for bagel chips. And then we could also write it as 4P with the word 2 bagel chips. Or we could do my favorite, which is 4P over 2B. Okay? It all says the exact same thing. Every one of them lists 4 pretzels as the first part of the ratio. Okay, the numerator, if you want to call it that, the number in the top of the ratio is your first part of the ratio. Okay? The recipe makes a total of how many cups of party mix? Well, it makes 8. Okay? Write the ratio of pretzels to total party mix in 3 different ways. So, write the ratio of pretzels. It wants pretzels first to the total. So, we go over here and look, and we know that there are 4 cups of pretzels it requires, so that's going to be 4 pretzels, colon, and then you can make a total of 8 cups of mix. I'll just say mix. That way we don't put P on there. So it's 4 pretzels. They wanted that first. I gave that to them first. To the total 8 total. We could also write it like this. 8 pretzels with the word 2. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. That's 4 pretzels. 2 8 party mix. And then the final way is to write it in that fraction form, which is 8 pretzels to 8 of the total mix. Now, this isn't this learning target, but I'm just going to show you right now that all of these can actually be simplified. The same exact way that we would have simplified a fraction, it works the same way. Okay? We would find a common factor, a GCF, which is 4. That's the GCF of these 2 numbers. Okay? And divide by 4 to the top and the bottom, and we get 1/4. So what I'm telling you guys is, if I said 1 pretzel for every 4 cups of mix, that's the same ratio as that. They are equivalent. Just like equivalent fractions, they are equivalent. You can simplify ratios the same way. Okay? And down here, I'd like you guys to pause this real quick, and I want you to just do this. It's all based on this information up here. Okay? Okay? So it wants it written in 3 different ways. So it wants bagel chips to peanuts, and I erased that. But I know that it was 2 bagel chips with a colon to how many peanuts it wants. I think it's 1 peanut. So it's 2B2, 1 peanut, and then finally 2B over 1 peanut. Okay? Total party mix, 2 pretzels. Okay, that's going to be 8 colon, I'll leave the labels off this time. 8 colon 4, okay, 8 to 4, and then 8 over 4. Again, order matters. It wanted the cups that the total party mix makes to the number of pretzels. Down here we got cheese crackers to peanuts. They both required 1 cup. So here we got a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, 1 to 1, 1 over 1. Okay? Hopefully that is very, very easy. Let's go on to the next page. That might be it. Actually, you know what? That is it for the Learning Target number 1 and 2 video.